Oh, I, the pure consciousness, or the sense of self-awareness, would manifest the words of truth, would manifest the words of truth, and would manifest the words of wisdom. I, the pure consciousness, or the sense of self-awareness, would manifest the words of truth, and would manifest the words of wisdom through this finite mind and through his finite body. Blessings to be the one who is seeking for the truth. Blessings to be on the one who is seeking for the truth seeker, whether it's a herself or it's a himself. Blessings to be on my truth seeker. You see, blessings to be on my truth seeker, whether it's a herself or it's a himself. You can see the caption. It says easy life. This is not in the response of any type of inquiry. Are you following? This is not in the response of any type of inquiry. I had a couple of inquiries and I have answered them in a private message. I had a couple of inquiries and I have answered those inquiries in a private message, in a private retreat. No inquiry is less important, or no inquiry is more important or most important. Every inquiry has equal significance. However, I choose the inquiry which basically serves a rapid purpose. I hope you are following me. However, I choose the inquiry which actually serves a rapid purpose. It means an inquiry, if I answer, that can bring clarity in numerous people's perception in the same time. A common prop, a common obstacle that more people are facing. Easy life is the topic that I have chosen. People, I have spoken about something very similar, if you are following me. I have spoken about something very, very similar in the past, but for one that was a while back, probably an year or so. I think it was in last October, you see, last October. So this October, it has been an year since I have spoken about what is life, how life functions, what are the rules of life. This topic is significant because this topic is a reminder I'm trying to make you remember. That's why I'm dedicating this retreat or this message solely to look what are we doing with what we are given. And the sole purpose, of course, is to bring clarity in human perception. That's why I am here. And I am doing or trying to fulfill the purpose I've been signed up for. I don't know how long would I keep going. But as long as this body allows me and carries me, I would keep bringing clarity in human perception, you see, which is the most important thing in my life. Because I have brought clarity in my own life. And now I want you to keep this gift, this present. My services for you, the humankind, are free, you see, because I understand that how much you love money. And I understand that how much you want to cling to money. And I understand how much you are after money. You see, because you think this is life. You think money would buy you everything. But you remain in the state of compulsion even if you are a millionaire. Even if you are a billionaire, you still remain in the state of compulsion. You never rest because you are a total slave of your thoughts. You are a total slave of your mind. You see, the narrow band you live in, this three-dimensional reality, is not the limitation of life. This is what you understand as life. There is a difference between these two. The narrow band, remember? We mentioned the narrow band in the past in numerous retreats. The narrow band you live in this three-dimensional reality, you think this is life. This is your interpretation of life. Life is not limited to this narrow band, nor life is human-centric. So you do not get arrogant. You do not get on your high horse and fly all around and think the life is human-centric. Or, no, life is limitless. You don't see that, but I see that way. I perceive life beyond the barriers of physicality. I perceive life beyond the barriers of physicality. I know what I am saying. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't know it through my own experience. You see, sometime we the rishis, sometime we the clairvoyants, sometime we the yogis, or the sannyasis need to be very need to be very upfront with you the humankind. You understand? Sometime there is no easy or polite sometime there is no easy or polite way for us to make a point. If we need to bring clarity, sometimes we realize there is no easy or polite way. There is just truth. If you have the nerves, if you have the guts to perceive the truth, to listen to the truth, it would lead you to liberation. But if you are led by your ego, the human intellect, what you think you are, then it would just keep you occupied in the narrow band, the three-dimensional reality. Easy life, there is no such thing as easy life. There is no such thing as difficult life. There is just life. You understand what I'm saying to you? I hope you're following me. Easy life, there is no such thing as easy life. There is no such thing as difficult life. There is just life. People, if you conduct a survey, if you take 100 people in a particular demographic, I hope you understand the meaning of demographic, and I'm sure you do. If you compile a survey and if you take 100 people in a particular demographic and you ask them what is the one complaint you have with life, and they would tell you those complaints. If you break down those complaints, all those complaints are coming into one complaint, which is life is not happening in the way I want it to happen. You see, life would never happen in the way you want it to happen. Even if you passed on 1,000,000 times and you came back and you took birth, you see, took birth. If you took birth 1,000,000 times, life still would not happen in the way you want it to happen. Because if life was happening in the way exactly you want it to happen, then you would be God, wouldn't you? But thank God that you are not God, because you hadn't got the right temper to be one. You see, otherwise it would be a chaos. It would be a disaster. Anyway, we will not deviate from the topic. So the topic I have chosen is to bring clarity that why are you so not happy with life? You see, why do you ask common questions to me? I always ask you to incorrect questions, but what I'm saying is I get a common question, which is why life is not happening in the way I want it to happen. Is there a spell or a chant or a charm that you can teach us so we can conquer life, so we can take an upper hand to life? You see, these kind of questions. Or sometimes people wonder, why are we here on this planet Earth? Sometimes people wonder why there is life, or why are we, or in easy words, or in other words, why life, isn't it? So to answer that, if I hypothetically, for example, if you were bursting in joy and in ecstasy, are you following what I'm asking you? I'm answering that question with a question. The answer to that question is hidden. The answer to your question is hidden in my question. If you, every cell, every molecule, every cell, every atom, every molecule in your body, if it was bursting in joy, in bliss, in happiness, would you be wondering about a question like that? Would you be wondering about a question like why life, or why are we here? But now the life has become the burden, because life is not happening in the way you want it to happen. And now you are wondering about all these things. If you were every moment, every single second passing by, you were in ecstasy, a concrete state of ecstasy or bliss, would you be wondering about something like that? No, of course not. But since it has become a burden, since you think it has become a misery, since you think it's a liability that you have to live, then of course you wonder about these questions, you see. But the good news is it is very possible to live in bliss, in ecstasy all the time. And I teach people how to do that. And I'm teaching you too. I'm bringing clarity. Once you have clarity, you are in bliss. You are in happiness. It's not that you are working towards happiness or bliss, bringing in you from some outer source. You see, it's not that. These are all superstitions. Bliss, ecstasy, happiness, joy is your fundamental state, and hence is your birthright. You see what I'm saying? Bliss, ecstasy, happiness, and joy is your fundamental state, and since is your birthright. You're just going to have to learn to claim it. You see Milton's Paradise Lost, so we are trying to claim our paradise lost. You understand what I'm saying to you? So life would never happen in the way you want it to happen. However, if you want to live in bliss, ecstasy, if you want to live in bliss, ecstasy, happiness, joy at all times, you can happen in the way life is happening. And when I say you, I'm talking to the separate self. I'm talking to the ego. I'm talking to the person who is the being who is living in a delusion that he or she are existing separate from creation and can survive on their own. No, all our life is happening as one energy. Manifestations of life are attached to each other. You see, manifestation of life is attached to each other. Our thoughts are attached to each other. Our minds are attached to each other. You see, just like that rubber band ball. I use the metaphor of rubber band ball, just like the rubber band ball, that too many countless rubber bands are forming a rubber band ball. But once the rubber band ball is formed, it's difficult to separate and identify which rubber band started the ball. You see, they are overlapping. You see what I'm saying? The bands, the rubber bands, they are overlapping with each other. They are tightly bended with each other. Just like that, our minds are, our thoughts and our minds are attached with each other. You cannot see that, but if you focus enough, you realize that. I realize it through my own experience. And all those thoughts that are being generating, all those thoughts that are being generated are making a collective mind of humanity. That collective mind of humanity is significant, however, it does not always tell you the truth. Most of the time is not friendly. You would see that you would achieve the bliss and the ecstasy. You would see that you would achieve the bliss and the ecstasy, and you would realize that now life is happening in the way you want it to happen. It is still is not happening in the way you want it to happen. However, you are exactly happening in accord of life, so it just may feel like that life is happening in your way. But now you have learned to happen in the way of life. So that mind of all humanity that I just mentioned, most of the part is not very friendly with humanity. Mind is significant to perform certain actions. However, most of the time mind is nasty. Most of the time mind abuses you. Most of the time mind creates fear in you. Most of the time mind creates doubt in you. Most of the time mind creates thought that paralyzes the very expression of your life, and you become a slave. It abuses you. It executes you every moment, every single second. When it is so much in control, forget about a happy or easy life. You must, at this point in time, you the humankind, at this point in time, you must learn to take the upper hand and conquer the mind. at this moment in time. Mind would never stop. Thoughts are not, or thought is not what mind does or produce. Thought is what mind is. When there is no thought, there is no mind. You see, people ask me all the time, how do I silence my mind? You know, the silent, shh, that's silent. So they say, how do I silence my mind? How do I quiet my mind all the time? First of all, the very existence of mind is not to be quiet. You don't want your kidneys to be quiet or silent. Or how do I stop my mind? You see, why would you stop your mind? You don't want your heart to be stopped. You don't want your kidneys to be stopped. You do not want your lungs to be stopped. What is the thing you have against the mind? When your kidneys stop, I'm saying hypothetically, when your kidneys stop, when your heart stops, when your lungs stop, your mind would stop too. You see? So what is that what you have against the mind? You see? So every organ in your body is functioning. You don't want all these to stop. Now, do you? You would say, oh no. Of course you would say. You don't want all that to stop. You just want your mind to stop. Just like everything else is functioning in your body, like your lungs, like your kidneys, your heart, and all different organs, brain also is in function. You see? And mind is also in function. Forget about stopping the mind. The more you oppress a thought, the more it would bounce back to you with more intensity. Forget about it. It would never happen. I'm telling you through my own experience. However, there is a good news. You diffuse the mind. You know the word diffuse? You diffuse the mind from the unnecessary chattering. Then you are living in ecstasy, and then you are living in happiness, and you are living in bliss all the time. You diffuse it, you tame it, you train it in the way you want to use it. You make it your ally. You, the humankind, turn it into your slave, not the other way. When I see humans functioning in the society, when I speak with them, when I have a conversation with them, when I am trying to bring clarity and happiness in their perception, I see how much they have become, what the word I am looking for in English, how much they have become subdued, how much they have fallen on their knees in front of the mind, how much they worship the mind. All the nastiness they project towards each other in form of resentments, in form of silent treatments, in form of prejudice, in form of discrimination, in form of social status, in form of the sense of superiority, all this nastiness, these diseases they project towards each other is because of the mind. You know that? And for the most part, this is all their mind produces, because mind operates on distinction. You understand? That's the very nature of the mind. All this I am saying so you can lead an easy life. You see, every single word when I speak with you, if you pay enough focus, if you are not a slave to the mind, if your focus is not haywire, you realize I just connect the dots. Everything is there. And when I connect the dots, I show you a clear picture. I form a clear picture by connecting the dots. You understand? And then I show you the clear picture. This is the clear picture. So mind would never stop. And its very existence, its very life, and its very purpose. You understand? It's doing what it is supposed to do. However, it would keep going if you don't take charge of it. Mind operates on distinction. Mind operates on what is and what is not. mind operates on these type of traits. It's very significant for you. It's about time, you humankind, to take charge of it. Otherwise, it would lead you to destruction. It would lead you to demise. It's significant to have the mind so you can perform certain actions, but it is not significant to turn yourself into a slave of the mind. You see, you can turn your mind to your slave. It is very possible. My mind is my slave. You see, my focus, you see, my perception, you see, my focus is so intact. And how it is that happening? It's happening by the dedication. It's happening by understanding the very nature of the mind. It's happening to clear your vacuum. When I got rid of superstitions such as words are real, one by one, I got rid of all the superstitions in me. So my vacuum remains empty. My focus and my attention is not hooked when I am talking to somebody. When I'm talking to somebody and I looked at that person, I can see through that person. And how does that happen? Every human being is perfectly capable of having a power like that. But it only happens when you understand the nature of the mind. It only happens when you take your faith out, invested in superstitions, in hate, in discrimination, in drama. When you take your faith out of it and you reclaim yourself. Anyway, anything can hook your attention. Objects around you can hook your attention. People around you can hook your attention. Your internal thoughts, your thoughts can hook your attention. You see, anything, everything is a setup. As my mentor Don Miguel Ruiz, a brilliant being and an enlightened human, states, everything what you perceive around you is out there to hook your attention. Every human out there to hook your attention. Every object around you is a setup to hook your attention. But what is the art, what is the brilliancy is, you see, that is still having them in your surroundings and yet maintaining a tremendous amount of focus. That's what we understand as the mind. That's what we understand as the master, the one who has total mastery on life. You see, there comes a time through your dedication, there comes a time through your focus, there comes a time through your dedication towards Kriya and through your dedication towards meditation that a person's energy, rises so high. There comes a time through all that a person's energy rises so higher up that the person becomes even in the charge of how the person would go. Are you following me? If you create sufficient distance from the mind and yourself, if your focus is perfectly intact, if you can see the movement of the thought in the mind and your vacuum is empty, when you realize numerous truths, there comes your energy, the prana. That's the term we use in our yogic culture. That's the term from Sanskrit, I think. The prana. The prana rises so high. The prana rises so up high, the life energy, that the yogi, the rishi, actually becomes the charge of how the yogi or the rishi would go. You see, how he or she would leave the body, how this person would go. They even have the mastery and they even have the control on that. This is what I understand easy life. It's not easy to get there. You see, while I'm telling you all that much mastery on your life, you probably are wondering that it is a beautiful state of the being, which it is. You see what I'm saying to you? While I'm telling you all this, you are wondering it is the beautiful state to be. It is the beautiful state of the being. So this beautiful state of the being, or this beautiful state to be, is the state of the easy life. To get that kind of state of easy life, are you understanding? To get the kind of state of easy life is not easy. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot have it in the way you conduct the process of your life. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot have it the way you conduct the very process of your life. The way you form attachments to your life. The way you want to keep, the way you want to keep the things that you live in, and you don't see any problem with that, and you call it normal. You see, there is nothing normal how most humans are conducting the process of life. I can guarantee you that there is nothing normal about it. These humans are like a robot, and they are led by their desires. They are led there by their bondages. They are led there by the formation of the bands they have formed. They are led by greed. They are led by selfishness. They are led by a very narrow band of reality, but not the broad band. And they have a desire and they have a desire that they want to keep that too, and they want to lead a happy or easy life. You cannot have it both ways. You have to look at yourself. You have to audit yourself. You have to see where the problem is. If you don't see there is a problem, you cannot take care of the problem. In order to take care of the problem, you have to acknowledge or recognize its common sense. You see, if you do not see the ways, if you do not see your ways are wrong, then you cannot lead a easy life. You cannot lead a happy life. You need to challenge everything what's been handed over to you. You need to see what you are doing. You must have enough clarity in your perception what you are doing. Then and only then you can lead a happy life. You see, then and only then you can lead an easy life. You pay too much attention in the issues of gender. You pay too much attention in the issues of your color. You pay too much attention in the issues of what others are doing or what others are thinking, what lives others are leading. You take too much pride on the things have no meanings in ultimate reality. You are not concerned with your growth. You are not concerned with your growth. When I say growth, I'm not talking about growth in terms of education or physical growth or financial growth. I'm not talking about all these abstract growth, but the ultimate growth. How much you are close to the truth, how much you are close to the light. If you do not give up the ways, your superstition ways, if you keep investing your faith in issues like that I just mentioned, you cannot lead an easy life. It's not possible. You cannot have it both ways. Take a look at yourself. See what you are doing, what you are given. Nobody knows how much time we have. It's an illusion. Somebody thinks, oh, I have time. Somebody plans for next 5 years, 10 years. I would be happy when I retire. How are you so sure that you would even get to see that? How are you sure that you even would get to see the day of your retirement? You don't know. It's an illusion. It's a lie you keep telling yourself. These are the lies your faith is invested in. You think future is real. There is no future. When you look at life with so much, what the word I am looking for? When you look at life with so many lies, when you look at life with so much cluttering, how can you be happy or how can you lead an easy life? So think about what I said. Focus about what I said. Rewatch the video if you have to. If you have any confusions, ask me the questions. I chose this topic on purpose. Om Shiva, Om Shiva, Om Shanti.